Hiya, I'm that James Wisdom, and today I'm unboxing the Kickstarter game, Coral Islands. So hello everybody, I've got another Kickstarter unboxing for you today, and that is for Coral Islands. Now, I got Coral Islands fairly recently. It was a game I backed ages ago, and I'd almost forgotten that I Kickstarted it because the company that made it, Alley Cat Games, just didn't send notifications on Kickstarter at all. They was like, we're making the game, we're not going to notify you much about it. And then I got a notification, about 2 weeks before it arrived, saying, finished the game, it should be at the warehouses, ready to ship out right now, so you should expect it soon. And then it arrived, and that was basically all the information I got about this game. So I don't really know much about the production quality or what's in here. I mean, it's a dice stacking game, so there are a ton of coloured dice in here. There's 2 different games in this. I think one is called Coral and one is called Islands. So it's Coral Islands. But yeah, so that's it. I mean, it's Alley Cat Games, who did a very good job with their branding, I have to say. The actual box that the game came in is branded with Coral Island stuff as well. So that's Coral Island stuff and the game brand. So that's it. As I say, it is a dice stacking game with colourful dice in it. Cards, it actually says here, like 76 translucent dice, 1 main board, 2 sideboards, 104 coral cards, 114 island cards, 24 fish tokens, and 4 reference cards. So it's 1 to 4 players, so that makes sense for the reference cards. So that's the game. Let's open it up. You can hear it rattling now. Let's open it up and have a look inside. Thump. Here we go. Wow, that's the lid again is exactly the same. It's like opening the box and finding the lid still attached. It's the instruction book, the rule book on top there. Looking good. Let's have a quick flick through. As I say, I don't actually know the rules of this game. I've never seen it played. Looks okay. I mean, I would say they could do some better word spacing or just kind of design, but it's pretty good. Pretty good book. Looks straightforward enough. And there's the second game. So first game is the first half of the book, which is Coral, designed by Richard Mass, and then Islands, designed by Rohan Dargard, I guess is how they pronounce that. And there you go, there are the 2 games in one, basically. And they use the same pieces, from what I understand. So it's not like it's a super complex 2 whole sets of things in one. I'm sure some pieces are not used in some and some are in others. This is the game board. The game board is actually very small. I expected the game board to be a bit bigger than this. 2-sided. But I guess it makes sense with the dice going on here. That would be the size of this. Everything is kind of a little miniaturized. I'm not going to push out all the tokens here because they're all in this nice board and you can see them. So these are our fish tokens. These are some extra islands. I wonder if they go along the edges here or whether they're individual personal islands for individual players. Anything on the other side? Yeah, just duplication on the other side, basically. The next thing here is there is a big old bag of dice. That is a lot of dice there. They're quite large. Actually, so they're standard sizes for dice, it looks like. If anybody has played Sagrada, which has similar styles of dice, the dice in that are substantially smaller than this. Like, these are a lot larger. And there's also some slightly different colours here. So we've got this kind of aqua-y blue colour. We've got a green, we've got a red, we've got purple, we've got yellow. But we've also got this kind of brown colour. It's still translucent, but it's a sort of translucent grey, I guess. It's like a grey-brown colour. But that as well. So those are your kind of 6 colours there. And I think that's it. So that's just a ton of dice. They're very weighty. They feel good quality. There are some kind of blemishes in the actual inking of the dots here. They are embedded dots. They're not just painted on the side. But the engraved dots of the dice aren't all filled up really well. But I mean, they look fine to me. They look pretty good as dice go. So slide all of those over that way a bit. And then let's have a look through the cards. Wow, that's a big big old deck of cards there. Big old deck of cards there, and a slightly smaller deck of cards there. But again, they are mini cards. They're not full-size big old cards, which I guess keeps the box size down, keeps the production costs lower. They've all got different backs. These two presumably go with the Coral game, and this goes with the Islands game here. So let's start with Coral, because we have the Coral board out. And let's have a look through these cards. I'm just going to unwrap the cards. Now, I imagine these cards here are the ones that actually indicate how to stack based on that one there. So these are going to tell us what we're expected to do as a player, or our kind of objectives as a player. Now, these cards are going to be a bit of a nightmare for storage in this box by the looks of it. There's just lots of really tiny cards in this relatively large space with no specific space for the cards. So you are going to end up, every time you open this game up, having just cards everywhere by the looks of it. So you may want to consider investing in some Ziploc bags, just to make sure that you don't end up with just cards everywhere. So here we go. Right, so we have different stacking options here. These are worth presumably 3 points. Then the art on the card is quite nice. It's very in keeping with the style of the board and this kind of underwater environment. So the art is nice. I like the art. Looks good. It's another 3-pointer there. That's a weird one. I'm not quite sure what this is telling us. I don't know whether this is the ones we're scoring are the darker colours or the lighter colours there, or how this works. I will go through the rules in another video. Now this one is 1 point and a fish, presumably. You score here and you get either or, either or, either or. There you go. And then some other scoring cards where I'm guessing this is, if we look down at the board, if you have 2 2s next to one another, you get points and a fish. 2 2s, 2 1, yes. 2 2s, 2 2s, 2 2s, 2 2s for 1 point. 2 3s, 2 3s, 2 3s, 2 3s, 2 3s. 4s, and you can probably see where this is going. 5s. There's no scoring for 6, though. That's interesting. So 6 might be considered wild, maybe, in this game. That would be my assumption. Or the other option, of course, is that because this was our small deck of cards, maybe there are more in the larger deck of cards here as well. So this is Coral. There we go. Now, I do like it when people pack things like this with these tear off ribbons. It just makes life a little bit easier, so that's a good thing to be able to see there. Slide this out. There's so many cards in here I can't even slide them out of the packet without them going everywhere, so I am going to have to slide them out in sort of 2 goes, just kind of proving my point about how much you're going to need to think about how you store your cards in this box, because they are going to go everywhere if you're not careful. But again, this looks like it's just more scoring cards. These are our reference cards, which tell us how to play. So let's we'll look at those in a second. Let's look at the cards first. So here are some fish, some different kind of artwork pieces of card. Now I'm not sure what these are for. I wonder if they're, you know, if you've won specific things. I like that there are kind of dice drawn into the artwork. That's kind of nice. And then again, more stacking options. I think maybe all of these are going to be stacking options. Yeah, there's just tons and tons of stacking options in here. So this could be a very varied game by the looks of it, just by the number of cards. It might also be very heavily luck based, depending on what cards you draw here. Now some like this are like worth 4 points, so there's quite a lot there in terms of drawing, of gaining points. But yeah, so again, that's really what all of these cards are. So most of these cards are the same, which will make your life a little bit easier if you are looking for the cards in this mess that's going to exist here. Before we move on to the islands cards, let's look at the reference cards for Coral. Oh, and there's islands on the back, so we'll look at that afterwards. So Coral, play order, I guess, is 1 add a die or dice to the reef. Claim a shape card and or claim fish tokens. Cool. So I guess when you place your dice or dice, if you meet the criteria on one of these cards, maybe you are going to be able to claim this card and that will get you points. Don't know. And then refill your nursery card back to 2 dice. Whatever that means. Oh, that's what these are going to be. These are going to be our nursery cards. So you end up drawing 2 dice and putting them onto these nursery cards. That's really cute. I like that a lot, actually. Yeah, that's neat. I like that. That's a nice little idea. To have those cards just as your kind of nursery cards, indicating the space that you're putting dice on. So you take that card, you could easily put 2 dice on that. And that's nice. I like that as a thought that they've put into the game, because they could very easily just have provided us with these cards and not included those 4, and it would have been perfectly playable and perfectly fine. You just have your nursery of, I have 2 dice in front of me, and that's it. So that works very well. So Coral, that sounds interesting enough. A relatively straightforward stacking game where you're just trying to create patterns using your dice like this. Islands, I don't know what this is like. It didn't say much about Islands, but Islands clearly has character cards, and it's designed by a completely different game designer. So this could be one of those things where one of these games is great and one of them is really bad, or it could be that they're really both very good but very similar, or it could be that they are completely different games that just happen to use similar components. Obviously the cards are different, and again, that's why this is going to be a problem, putting them in here. I might actually put the cards underneath this cardboard insert, so that all the cards on one side are for one and all the cards on the other side are for the other, and then all my dice will just live in the middle here, maybe in the tokens. But to be honest, I think whatever you choose to do with your packing, you might find that Ziploc bags are going to be the way forward. Right, starting off, we have our character cards here. Let's pop those there. Remember that these are all the island cards now, so we're looking at this side of the board for playing this. We've got a seismologist, conservationist, and they've all got different abilities. You may choose not to move your die. Ecologist, geographer, oceanographer, agriculturalist, and that should be all of them. Yep, and each of those has a different ability. Seismologist can merge, which you may move your die together with the one below. Sustain, you may choose not to move your die. I already said that one. Augment, you may move your die onto dice of the same value. Presumably that's not something you could previously do. Survey, you may move a die that is on top of the colour you choose. It's good. You may move your die into empty island spaces. And diversify, you may choose to move a second die of the same colour. Split your available movement between the 2 dice. Wow. That last one's longer. Now, that gives us some indication of kind of how this game is played. Going to be lots of dice moving. Now, we've got these different colour-coded cards I can see just by kind of looking at the edges there. You've got these different colour-coded cards. Now, these are volcano cards. All the same back. The lava turns to magma and builds upon itself. Oh, it tells you what a volcano is. Okay, cool. And then it's got some stats here. I think they're all the same. Oh no, slightly different values on the cards. So different star point. Stars are usually points, so I would guess that's points. Different values for this. Now I'm guessing it would tell me what that means. I don't know anything about mountains or geography in general. I'm just really bad at geography. So some of this stuff is probably over my head. You're looking at it and going, what? Those are really obvious things, James. Something to do with seismology, probably, and earthquake meters or something. Archipelago, or archipelago, that's how it's pronounced, isn't it? Yeah, just a different type of card. And again, they're all the same with just different values on them. So I'm just going to skip straight past them. I'm not going to go through and show you all the values. But I'm guessing it's the same thing. These are just going to be the different colours from the different die, aren't they? So, you know, I laid a mountain there, or a volcano there because I used a red die, green die, archipelago. sandy beach. In the wind, sand billows upward. Again, same basic thing. It looks like the piles are all the same size. Yeah, they're all the same size so far. Rocky stack. Well, there you go. So that explains why we've got these kind of greyish coloured die. Because we've got these greyish coloured cards for the rocky stacks. That matches quite well. Waterfall. Oh, I didn't read what this says. So rocks can be piled onto themselves. Cool. Water falls down, but the ground continues to rise. Bunch of those. They're blue. And I think this is the last one, which is lavender fields, which is the purple die. Flowers grow and the wave in the wind. And wave in the wind. Sorry, reading. I'm good at that, honest. So that's all the cards. That's all the pieces. That's all the die there. So that's everything in the box. Interesting looking thing. Let's quickly, just because we did this with Coral, look at the turn order for islands so we get an idea of what the game is like in islands. Deal 3 terrain cards. Okay, that's going to be these guys, I'm guessing. Choose a stack of terrain cards, keep one of those cards and discard the rest. Move a die matching the colour of the terrain card, so one of these, and apply any specialist effects if you so wish. So I'm guessing these are your specialists here, so you can apply the effects if you wish. But there you go, that's lots of moving cards around. And I guess if you can do the things that are on your card, you get the points for that card. So yeah, I mean, that looks interesting. That's a couple of different games with dice. That's the reason I wanted this game, that I backed it on Kickstarter, is because I like dice games. I don't have many. The only one I really have that's a proper, full-on dice game is Sagrada. And they said it had 2 things in one, so I thought I'd give it a try. It was relatively cheap. So I encourage you to have a look if you think this looks interesting. As I say, I'll go through the rules in full at some point. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this unboxing video of Coral Islands with 2 games, Coral and Islands. And if you did, please like and subscribe, all of that nonsense. Keep smiling, thank you very kindly, and come back and see another video.